Imagine a fairy tale remake so offbeat, it makes you wonder if the magic ran out long ago. Welcome to the baffling world of the Snow White remake, a film that tried to be modern but ended up confusing and disappointing. With choppy visuals, awkward acting, and a tangled plot, this version falls far short of the classic we know and love. Join me as we break down how this once-beloved story turned into a messy, hard-to-follow adventure. This is a magnificent dive into the void of awful ideas. Not just a bad movie, it feels cursed from the outset, as if someone put all of their effort into a bet that they could ruin a classic. Why sandblast everything that made a timeless fairy tale like Snow White shine? The pitch sounds like a corporate brainstorm gone awry, following trends without taking them seriously. It is gritty, modernized, and relevant. The result is a jumble of miscastings, jumbled themes, and a production so disorganized that it could pass for avant-garde theater. The shortcomings of the movie hit you like a poorly delivered punchline. First of all, the actors seem to have lost their way to another film. During lunch breaks, actors stumble over roles that don't fit them, spitting out dialogue that sounds like it was written in a panic. The script, which fumbles from scene to scene without a hint of the original's warmth or focus, is a Frankenstein's monster of half-cooked ideas. It shoots arrows into the air as if it forgot the target was there, rather than simply missing it. From a production standpoint, it's an unstoppable display of self-destruction. From the beginning, this project was plagued by delays, reshoots, and rumors of scandal. Every bit of information that was leaked, ego clashes, last-minute fixes, added more misery to the pile. It's like meeting that fictional celebrity you've been dreaming about. All hype, no substance, just a gradual decline into disappointment. You are not only disappointed by the film's 2 torturous hours, but you are also somewhat convinced that it was made to belittle you. Since this is a daring leap into excess rather than mediocrity, let's get started with the execution. Pure ham, no soul, the performances turn the volume up to 11. Costumes shout, "We gave up," louder than any line could, appearing to have been plucked from a thrift store's reject bin. The generated by computers imagery, not only is it subpar, but it's a visceral assault akin to gazing at a malfunctioning video game while suffering from a migraine. A constant assault on your patience, each frame seems designed to make you wince. Here, cinematography is not a saving grace. Crooked, exaggerated, and disconnected from the main plot, the shots are framed as though they are taunting you. The original Snow White placed a strong emphasis on themes of heroism, love, and sacrifice. This version exchanges those for a message that is so confused that it stumbles in the middle of its own sentence. It is a betrayal, a fairy tale that has been gutted and filled with meaningless buzzwords. It is not a reimagining. There is no sign of the story's soul or heart. Behind the curtain, chaos reigns. Every scene is affected by reshoots and rewrites, which are like cracks in a crumbling wall. Subplots emerge, like ideas someone forgot to pursue, and then disappear without a trace. One of the worst examples is the Kiss revival scene, which is crammed in like a plot point from a different screenplay. It is a billboard that reads, "We had no clue what we were doing," and is not a solution. It seems like a story left to fend for itself, a rough draft that no one bothered to polish. It begins in a generic fantasy realm that combines all of the medieval cliches. The good times don't last. Even though Snow White is born to good rulers, her father marries a cunning queen. In comes Gal Gadot, all smirks and evil intents, then leaves for a war he never returns from. And her mother dies young. The kingdom descends into a grimdark fever dream that is half scathing satire and half dystopian nightmare. Although there is potential in the setup, the tone veers wildly from slapstick to despair. Uncertain of what it's even attempting to be, you're left reeling. Then there is Jonathan, a bandit who is supposed to get the plot going. His part indicates Snow White's fate. Rather, he mutters ambiguous lines before disappearing into the background, making him a walking plot device. All build-up and no payoff, his redemption moment, a purported turning point, fails like a damp sparkler. Even worse are the dwarfs. The endearing minors have vanished, to be replaced by eldritch horrors that are more Lovecraftian nightmare than fairy tale. Although it's a bold decision, it falls so far short that it almost belongs in a different genre. The story's emotional center, the poisoned apple, ought to strike like a freight train. Rather, it's a stale repetition, presented with the air of a disinterested clerk. Snow White's coma seems like an afterthought, and the Queen's plan is so weak that you hardly give a damn if she survives. Jonathan's heart-saving kiss is more, "Did I lock my car?" than it is swoon-worthy. As a result of the movie's larger flaws, this scene should make you feel better, but instead makes you feel worse. The ending is completely ridiculous, akin to a cartoon on a bad trip. After taking a nap, Snow White comes up with a ridiculous plan to overthrow the Queen that borders on satire. She literally names-drops soldiers into rebelling. No, really. Not to be outdone, the Queen smashes her magic mirror and then bursts into glass fragments. As strange as it sounds, the climax seems to have been lifted from another film. Snow White wins the throne, but it's a meaningless triumph. In a story that lost sight of its own stakes, the dwarfs, Jonathan, and the entire supporting cast simply vanish into thin air. There is no escape for the leads. Snow White, played by Rachel Ziegler, has some memorable moments, particularly when she sings, but her character arc is repetitive and her costumes shout clearance sale. She never settles into a character you support. One moment she is a hero, the next she is a lost soul. A greater misfire is Gal Gadot's evil queen, who lacks the necessary venom and is stiff and lifeless. Her songs are poignant yet painful, similar to an inebriated karaoke session. Jonathan is a sidekick who is so uninteresting that he makes cardboard seem like a real person. It appears to be a collision of poor choices. It hurts how loudly real-world shots grind against CGI. Forests appear to be trying out for a rave, while scenes of castles are desolate and washed out. Not only is the discrepancy obvious, but it's confusing, like channel surfing in a storm, particularly in that kiss scene, which practically shouts, "We ran out of ideas." Reshoots stand out like shoddy stitches. The visual chaos reflects the story's breakdown. Fundamentally, this Snow White is a disaster blueprint rather than merely a failure. The essence of the original, love, resiliency, and unity, is buried beneath a mountain of unexpected twists. With no allies or trust, Snow White faces the entire story alone, just a bleak march to nowhere. Every decision, dialogue, editing, and casting feels like the final nail in the coffin. The classic spirit of cooperation, in which everyone pitched in, is replaced by a cold, lonely slog. The truth is that this remake is a complete failure. It's not just awful, it's a smug, annoying monument to making mistakes. Avoid it to save money, time, and your sanity. Instead, pull out the animated classic. This train wreck could only hope for the magic that comes from having heart. Some stories are great the way they are and don't require a reboot. Let this serve as a reminder that not all fairy tales require retelling, particularly when they are presented incorrectly.